Fundamentally, I look at the way the club is being run, and it didn't need to be run like this. INEOS saved the Glazers, and here we are again. If they hadn't saved them, I don't think the Glazers would still be here. But also, they chose in January not to strengthen the team. They chose to weaken the team to put money into the club. They chose to pocket all of Rashford's loan and wages and all of Antony's loan and wages. They chose to pocket that money and not strengthen the team.
So obviously Mark Goldbridge had a lot to say about what's going on with Manchester United at this moment in time. Another loss today, and it really is becoming depressing being a Manchester United supporter. More depressing by the day, really. We're really just losing, game after game. We're selling players that, some argue may need to be sold, but we're not even replacing them. A new manager has come in and he's losing almost every single game that he's playing. So it's really, really difficult times for Manchester United, but I think everyone, likes to look at people to blame. Obviously, we got rid of Antony, and the general consensus was that Antony's not good enough. So Antony's gone now. Antony's doing well in Spain, and we're still losing every single game. There's people out there that think Malacia was not good enough. Malacia is gone now. We're still losing every single game. There's people that blamed it on Pogba, Lingard. We got rid of Rashford. We got rid of Martial. People said Martial was not the answer. People want to get rid of Casemiro now. I mean, it's just a horrible, horrible cycle. And in these situations, as bad as the manager is doing, as much as I want to get rid of 90% of these players, what INEOS are doing to Manchester United is ridiculous. First things first, I've heard people say, and I just got to get this out there immediately. I have heard people say, oh, well, INEOS, the first thing that they have to do, they've got to cut costs. They've got to fire these people on low wages and get rid of them to recruit more money. Once again, a ludicrous way to look at it. If all INEOS can do is cut costs and they cannot afford to spend money on players, then why did you buy the club in the first place? That should have been the first red flag. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, keyword Ratcliffe, did not have enough money to buy the club in full. So that should have been the first red flag. He didn't even have enough money to buy the club. So what did he have to do? He had to buy a certain percentage of the club to keep the Glazers here. So that should be the first red flag. He doesn't have enough money. And you can't just turn around then and sit there and say, oh, well, what can he do? He doesn't have enough money to buy any players. Whose fault is that? Clearly, you did not have enough money to buy the club, and clearly you did not have enough money to spend it on players. So you can't come around and turn around and say, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? Again, we're getting rid of players like Malacia. We're getting rid of players like Antony. We're getting rid of Rashford. Some players may argue that they deserve to leave. They shouldn't be here. But that doesn't mean that you don't replace them. I mean, Antony could have been used today. Who did we have on that right wing? Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay is someone that I didn't really think was good enough for Manchester United if you want to go to that next level. But we're not even thinking about the next level right now. We're in 15th place. As bad as we've been under Van Gaal, under Mourinho, under David Moyes. Moyes was in 7th place. Mourinho finished outside the top 4. As bad as it was as Ten Hag, never, ever have I seen Manchester United in the middle of February in 15th place. So I just think that this club is really is almost over at this point. I just cannot see how we will go back to being a Champions League team. I can't see how we'll go back to winning Premier Leagues. And I think what people think is that, we'll get a new manager in. He'll start bringing in his new players, and it's going to be a 3-year project to win a title. I really just, that is just not going to happen. You really think that Ruben Amorim in season 1 is going to finish in 13th, 14th, or 15th place? And then next season, he's going to bring in 3 or 4 players and get rid of a couple, like a Lindelof, and you think this is going to turn around? That's not going to happen. So Manchester United are in a terrible state. There's players out there, look at the comments of Jadon Sancho. Rashford's leaving and Jadon Sancho is commenting saying freedom. So, we're in a terrible situation. I don't see it improving. I think there's just massive, changes that need to be made. But you need to look at that top. You need to look at the top of the club, because the guys in charge are a disgrace. And for Jim Ratcliffe, again, if you could not buy the club, if you couldn't put your money in here, you shouldn't even be here in the first place. And I really think that was the end of Manchester United. There was an offer on the table from Sheikh Jassim and the Qatari ownership to take 100% of the club. They would have got rid of the Glazers, who were probably the worst ownership in football history. You would have got rid of them and got rid of the debt immediately. And just for some insane reason, Manchester United fans didn't want that. Didn't want that because, okay, maybe Qatar may come in with, a couple things in terms of human rights and, things of that nature. It is, go look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe's background. Look at the Manchester City ownership background, Newcastle. I just think, that was our chance really to get rid of this. And Manchester United fans, for some reason, didn't want that. And now we're stuck. We are stuck, and it's depressing, and I think it's going to get even worse because, we've got no players. Ahmad's out for this season. Who's going to replace him? Anthony was there. Is Anthony a good replacement? Not really, but at least he's a body. Kobe Mainoo, who's his replacement? McTominay's not here anymore. So, there's just no players. There's no players. We're relying on two kids up front, Xerxes and Højlund. Spending over 100 million on those guys. So it is just a mess. The recruitment, the management, the ownership model, the style of play, everything. Everything is bad. We lose game after game. And I can't see it getting much better. So obviously, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I being too harsh, or is this really the reality that we need to talk about now as Manchester United fans? So as always, definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next video.